Welcome to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni with a couple of Eagles legends, Mike Quick and Ike Reese. Wasn't always pretty on Sunday, fellas, but for the third time in franchise history, the Eagles are 5-0 after a big win against the Cardinals, Ike.
Yeah, and you said it best. It's not always going to be pretty. When you're going through the season, and the Eagles are the last undefeated team, so now they become the big game for every opposing team on their schedule. Arizona, give them credit. It was in their building. They came ready to play. They put up a good fight, but like most good teams do, they find a way to win, and that's what the Eagles are doing. They're finding ways to win football games, finding a way to be at their best when their best is required.
Mike, on the offensive side of the ball, Dallas Goddard, he was 5 yards short of 100 on Sunday. What impresses you most about his game?
Well, I think everything about his game impresses me. I don't think there's a tight end in the National Football League that I would take over Dallas Goddard. Great inline blocker. No one runs the screen pass after the catch better than Dallas Goddard. He's just outstanding in that respect. So many areas that you need a tight end. He steps in and he does an outstanding job. Let me show you a perfect example. We have a play here, and it's the winning drive. They're in a 3rd and 12 situation, and Dallas Goddard runs the perfect route. You watch the pressure on this play coming off the left side. They have too many men coming for the Eagles to block, so they've got a free runner. Jalen Hurts does a great job of stepping up in the pocket, delivering the throw with the precise timing. You watch Dallas Goddard, he gets right in between the two defenders. The timing's perfect. He catches the football, but then it's the yards after the catch that gets the first down. He's not going to go down. He's going to make sure that he hits his mark. That guy is one of the best tight ends in all of football, and as I said, there's not one that I would take over Dallas Goddard.
Wow, high praise for Dallas Goddard. Well, from Dallas Goddard to the Dallas Cowboys. What will this Eagles offense see from Micah Parsons and this defensive group? Here's Greg Cosell with Enemy Intel, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
The Philadelphia Eagles offense will face its toughest challenge of the season this week against the Dallas Cowboys, particularly the Eagles offensive line. Now, there's no question that when healthy, the Eagles offensive line is probably the best in football. But this Dallas defensive front, including the linebackers, it's long, it's athletic, and they come in waves. They line up multiple looks, amoeba looks. They do a lot of slanting, they stunt. It is a challenge for any offensive line, no matter how good it is. And one thing that's really stood out, this is a team that a year ago played a lot of man-to-man coverage, cover one. This year, they still play cover one, but they're playing it at a lower percentage. What you're seeing a lot more of now is cover two. They're in fact among the league leaders in playing cover two, but it's how they get to it. It's not just the static, stagnant cover two. And there was a great example of this last week. There are actually several, but this particular one really stood out to me. What they do here is they're actually going to do what we call a Firex cross-dog blitz with Jaron Kearse and Leighton Vander Esch coming from stacked linebacker positions. And they're going to drop out 2 defensive ends. So it's only a 4-man rush, which is what you have when you play cover 2, and the 2 ends become underneath defenders. And the middle hole defender is a safety, Donovan Wilson. So this is kind of a unique way to get to it, but it's part of the disguise and late movement that the Cowboys do so well to get to cover 2. And the result of the play is a sack of Matthew Stafford. So this not only will be a challenge for the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, but it will also be a challenge for Jalen Hurts because he's going to have to identify coverage after the snap of the ball. That's the key part here. You get a certain pre-snap look, but then you get a post-snap look. And when it changes, the burden is on the quarterback to see the difference. It will be a challenge.
So Greg talked about the blitzing and disguise that we'll see from this Cowboys defense, but one defender you got to talk about is Micah Parsons. Last year, he split his time between linebacker and defensive end. He's now playing more as a pure pass rusher, so he's going to see a lot of Lane Johnson on Sunday. What do you guys think about that matchup?
Well, he's a great edge rusher, and we know that. I think he had 13 sacks as a rookie, defensive rookie of the year.
Sounds about right.
The guy is just unbelievable. They move him around. I know he's primarily an edge rusher this year, but I think based on the team, based on who they're playing, they may move him around even more. You may see him in the middle of that defense a lot more, but he's just disruptive. He reminds me of when back in the day we played against Lawrence Taylor, and when you come out of the huddle, you always had to say, "Where's LT?" He's that type of football player.
Yeah, and as a former linebacker, I almost feel dirty being a fan of Michael Parsons, right? As a player. That's how good of a player that he is. I'm looking so forward to this matchup this week with he versus Lane Johnson, because he hasn't faced a tackle like Lane Johnson, the best right tackle in all of football, and some could say he's just the best tackle in all of football. So that'll be a heavyweight matchup there. But Mike's right. I mean, Michael Parsons is one of those generational talents. You have to know where he's at all times. It'll be interesting to see how Dan Quinn decides to use Michael Parsons in this game, because if he's going to send him up against Lane Johnson, down in and down out, I like our chances there. I like our chances with number 65 going up against number 11.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
Offense. The run game wasn't going like the way we wanted it, but we freaking took it to them that last drive. It took 6.5 minutes off. Run that bitch. Guys, that whole group's a bunch of warriors. That 62 is a warrior. He laid it on the line. He laid it on the line for you guys. He was hurt hard, and he came out and kept playing for you guys. And I know a lot of you guys did that. I'm freaking proud of you guys.
Always great to get a look inside that Eagles locker room post-game. Been a little extra electric these days. Let's go to the Eagles defense. You were liking what you were seeing from Jonathan Gannon last week. What'd you see on tape?
I tell you what, when you're facing a team like the Arizona Cardinals, JG is going to have his work cut out for him, because Kyler Murray can give you so many different problems with his legs, with his arm, how he likes to extend plays. So you're going to have to give him multiple looks. And that's what I loved about the defensive game plan this week from Jonathan Gannon. Let's take a look at an example here. You're going to get a situation here where the Eagles kind of give you a 5 to 6 man look up front, trying to give Kyler Murray a different look here on defense. They don't know if they're in man coverage or in zone coverage, but watch at the snap of the ball here. What you're going to get is TE stunts up front. You get Fletcher Cox shooting the A-gap here. You get Kaiser White working his way from the center all the way to contain on the left side. But watch this stunt on the left side between Hassan Reddick and Javon Hargrave. Hargrave goes out. Hassan Reddick's able to shoot that B-gap, get in there, flush Kyler Murray out to his right, almost got the sack, forced the incomplete pass there, and that's the type of looks you saw all day long out there in Arizona. When you're facing a quarterback that can extend plays with his legs like a Kyler Murray, you have to give him different looks to sort of confuse him. I love what Jonathan Gannon did with his personnel on defense. Kaiser White was all over the place, disguising and things of that nature. Great game plan for Jonathan Gannon in the Eagles defense this week.
So what he's telling you is Jonathan Gannon forced that young quarterback to do mental gymnastics. So he's all over the place. They're showing you all of these different looks, and you're right. I love what he did with Kaiser White. Remember on the first third down play, he lines up in the middle as if he's gonna blitz right in the A-gap, but he backs off, he's spying. He ends up trailing Kyler Murray all the way to the sideline, forcing him out of bounds. But they did so many different things with him, moving him around, different assignments, and that really causes the quarterback to have to think. And if he has to think, then you may get that 1/10 of a second or that fraction of a second that could cause the play to go awry.
This also causes issues for the offensive line. When you line Kaiser White up, whether it's over the center or he's over a guard to the right or a tackle to the left, somebody has to account for him in the protection. So whether he decides to come or back out in coverage, that offensive line, at least for a tick, has to account for where Kaiser White is at. And that could be the difference between a guy like Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, or even a Fletcher Cox beating their guy one-on-one. And that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get a matchup of one-on-one with your guy. And that's why having these multiple looks is an advantage for this Eagles defense.
Well, the Eagles defense will be up against a big challenge on Sunday, facing this Dallas rushing attack. For more on that, here's Greg Cosell with Enemy Intel, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
I've been studying the Dallas Cowboys offense in detail for quite some time now. And you can go back to last season. They started the year with their first 5 or 6 games running the ball with volume and production. And since then, they've not been the same level of running offense. And running the football is important to the Dallas Cowboys. And they've changed their run game a bit. They've incorporated Tony Pollard in with Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott does not, at this point in his career, give you the 20, 30, 40-yard type runs. He's become much more of a sustainer, a grinder who gets tough yardage, 6, 7, 8-yard runs. It's Tony Pollard who gives you the explosive plays that this Cowboys offense badly needs. And we saw that a week ago against the Los Angeles Rams. And this is a zone play that goes to the right side of the offensive formation. And it starts with a double team block by center Tyler Biadasz and the right guard Zach Martin. Now their job is to double team the defensive tackle and work up to the stacked linebacker Bobby Wagner. Now, Pollard can really help this block develop, and he can help move Wagner. That is really critical. Backs by their initial path can move second-level defenders. So notice the first step Pollard takes. It's outside. That tells Wagner that it looks like outside zone, and notice how Wagner moves outside. What that does is it takes him out of the inside gap. Pollard takes the ball, starts outside, and immediately cuts back inside where he has an open lane, and he turns this into a long touchdown. Tony Pollard is a critical piece of this Cowboys offense. He's the back that gives them the explosive plays, and he can do it in multiple ways. He can do it as an eye back. He can do it with jet sweeps. He can do it with orbit motion. So it's a real challenge for the Eagles that Tony Pollard not be the one to break the explosive plays.
Too fast for that! Too fast for that! I'm too fast for that! Wagner! Yeah! 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 Oh, beat that!
Great start to Kyzir White's career as an Eagle. Ike, earlier you broke down his versatility, but let's learn more about the new Eagles linebacker. He joins Fran Duffy for Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, pleased to be joined this week by Eagles linebacker Kyzir White. And Kyzir, just want to kind of sit back, talk some football, and really just kind of go through some of the film from early in the season and talk about what you're seeing here on film.
For sure. Let's do it, man. I'm excited.
Zach Wilson back, looking, firing, and it is intercepted. Running with the football. It's Kyzir White, and he's pushed out of bounds near the Jets 20. Kyzir White with a pick.
So me and TJ here essentially where you're gonna see the path of the back, which side he's gonna go out on. I see he goes TJ's side. I'm initially supposed to be stepping over here to help the nickel out on any drags or under routes coming and knock him off his pivot. But you know, Zach Wilson, he pretty much just telegraphed where he was going. So I just pushed this way and wish I would have got to the end zone, but you know, we're gonna work on that.
Did you catch some heat from the teammates for this one?
For sure.
But you had family in the stands, right?
Yeah,
what was that like making that play for them?
Man, it was great. You know, can write the story any better. You know, I had a bunch of family there, so in order to put a smile on their face, I got to go out there and make plays.
So you fast forward a couple weeks, similar kind of play, different kind of coverage it looks like, but you create an interception for one of your teammates.
Yeah, definitely, man. You know, we were working this all week. You know, out there in practice, we studied this heavy. He's a real athletic tight end, real great tight end, strong, fast, good hands. So I knew I didn't really want to give him any space. I wanted to sit on everything he was doing. And once I seen him break out, and you know, I kind of looked back to see Goff's intentions, and I see he was looking this way real strong, and I just tried to, you know, leap out and make a great play on the ball.
Yeah, everyone's raving about length right now at linebacker, right? And this is just one of those examples where that length comes in handy, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
What I love about this play too was after you knock the ball up in the air and just your effort afterwards, just take us through what's going through your mind once you see James.
Oh yeah,
catch the
man.
ball.
You know, I seen him catch the ball. You know, I'm a selfless guy, so I want to get up and help my you know, teammate get to the end zone. So I wanted to lay a block. I know the closest man to him usually is going to make the play. So you know, I tried to make sure that doesn't happen.
James giving you some love after
Yeah,
the sideline.
for sure. He told me dinner on him, so I gotta hold it to him. You know?
I was gonna say, did you take him up on it yet?
Nah, not yet, but we will for sure.
You're a player that had experience playing safety. You were like an overhang player in college, right? What was that like, making that adjustment from playing out here in space, essentially in the slot, to then more of a stacked role?
Yeah, so I went to college as a corner. Then, I started getting a little bigger when I was at my junior college up the road, Grant, PA. Then they moved me to safety. It's different playing in a box. You got to use your hands real quick. You got 300-pound linemen coming at you. So, you got to be real quick and smart and elusive with what you're doing and, make fast decisions on the fly. So, it's definitely an adjustment, but I love playing linebacker for sure.
Yeah, so being out in space like this, trying to make a tackle on an island, that's not far for you.
Yeah, I feel comfortable doing that.
Run pass, in terms of getting through your keys. I know you guys work on that. There's a lot of team run periods. The offense will throw in a couple play action pass, but what is that like for a linebacker? How quickly you have to make those choices?
Yeah, you got to diagnose it quick, man. Sometimes, this game specifically, they were, doing a good job in the run game. So I feel like me and TJ, at times we might have got a little antsy, trying to just play downhill and get on the run. But here, they tried to trick us with the play action, and I felt it as a wide open hole. 9 times out of 10, it's never gonna be like that. Okay. So I knew something was up. So, I just tried to look to my innermost, and I seen, the overcoming, and, I tried to get in the passing window.
You see it so fast. Are you thinking about that pre-snap? Like, hey, if it is gonna be play action, this is like what's coming?
3-by-1. Once again, Coach Rallis, man, and JG, JK, they got us real doctored up, the week before, and film in the film room, just letting us know what we're gonna see out there. I just try to get in the passing lane and do my job.
Yeah, the corner background showing up here as well. You're turning and running with ease. My favorite part of this, though, at the very end, TJ sees it.
Yeah,
TJ looks at it.
Yeah.
I love that. Was one of my favorite parts. What's it been like playing next to TJ?
Oh, it's great, man. Like I say it all the time. TJ is a very underrated player. I remember when we played the Eagles last year. I didn't know who he was, to be honest, and he caught my eye. He caught a lot of my Chargers teammates' eye, especially the linebackers. We were talking about him, like 57 could really play. And, just playing side by side with him, he's real smart. He's an undrafted guy, so I love what he's doing out there, man. I'm just rooting for him, and I think the sky's the limit for sure.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Guys, this is it. Prime time, Sunday night football, 5-0 versus 4-1. This is the recipe for a classic Eagles-Cowboys game. So I wanted to ask you guys before we go, what's your favorite memory from the rivalry?
So many of them, considering we beat them like a drum when I played there. 10-4 against the Cowboys, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
I got to go back to 2004, our Super Bowl year. It was coming off our first loss of the season versus Pittsburgh, Monday night down in Dallas. I think we still hold the record for the most points scored in that stadium on that night. 49-14 win, I believe it was. And McNabb had an outstanding play where he scrambled for like 14 seconds and found Freddie Mitchell like 60 yards down the field. T.O. had 3 touchdowns in that game. It was an outstanding game. Never felt so good about beating down the Dallas Cowboys than I did that night.
Well, mine's not a particular game per se, but I have to go back to one of my first times realizing how big the rivalry was. A young kid coming into Philadelphia, you don't know all of the history, but coming out of the tunnel to play the Cowboys, we all would come out as a group, the wide receivers, deep backs, you come out in your different groups. Well, coming out of the tunnel this particular game, it was the first game against the Cowboys for me. We're coming out, and I look up into the eyes of my mentor, Harold Carmichael, and his eyes were filled with water. Harold was about to cry, and I got scared. I just didn't know. But then I realized I need to buckle my chin strap up just a little bit tighter because it's about to get real. Yeah. It's about to get real on Sunday night at Lincoln Financial.
It's about to go down. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to tune in next week for Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local tri-state Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.